I'll let you know if your area is in store for some cooling rain, and I'll have the latest on potential tropical development in the Atlantic next week. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather. Fantastic to see you for the latest video. The weekend is here, my friends. And coming up in this video, we'll talk about the areas of active weather. We have some tropical waves to deal with. We'll look at your island by island rainfall forecast and then take a look into the tropics. I have an area of interest in the Atlantic Basin that we'll get into. Let's get started. As always, Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They cover the entire state. Storm moves into your area, you get damaged. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. As always, want to hear from the Meteo Mundo weather community, what's been happening in your area, what the weather has been like. Broad look at our surface analysis. Still have a Bermuda high in place. Tropical wave moving through the western Caribbean. It's really kicking up some showers and storms for the Yucatan and portions of Central America. We have a more robust tropical wave now emerging out of the eastern side of the Atlantic that will move along this ITCZ, or the monsoon trough, and that could be the first one here in the Atlantic Basin that we'll have to monitor here for next week. But let's get started with what's been going on across the area for today. I'm going to start off in the Yucatan. Thunderstorms developing off the northwest side of the Caribbean and diving their way in. You can see the temperatures that are on your screen. Those are in Fahrenheit in places like Campeche, reaching about 100 degrees Fahrenheit for today. It's been a very hot, very humid forecast. Cancun and Cozumel. Now showers and storms are beginning to drift into those areas all the way down towards Tulum and the Chetumal area as well. Merida. Watch out for the thunderstorms to your south and east that'll be building in all this activity moving north and west. It's been even more prolific. Again, the southern sides of Quintana Roo through all of Belize. Wet, stormy day. Look at Belize City up to 90, and then the thunderstorms came through and they dropped all the way back down to 77. San Ignacio is like, hold my beer. I'm going all the way down to 73 with healthy thunderstorms. A little bit earlier for today, they've kind of dropped back down, but the heaviest rain is pushed inland. Still some leftover cloud coverage across Belize and coastal sides of Guatemala. We've also had some passing showers and storms across the Bay Islands, Utila, Roatan, Guanaja. Again, hot, steamy afternoon before the storms moved in. Obviously, it's kicked up some nice breezy conditions as well. La Ceiba, San Pedro Sula. Again, thunderstorms headed your way. La Ceiba getting into some of that activity as we speak. So just an overall more active pattern here as this tropical wave extends off towards the west, and that axis is right over Honduras and Nicaragua at the hour. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing over portions of Panama and Costa Rica as well. Been a quieter day for my friends of the Cayman Islands. You can see here, I'll bring on the visible satellite imagery. Had a report of maybe a very brief shower here much earlier, but as far as the afternoon hours of this Friday goes, no rain. Fairly hot, fairly dry forecast, temperatures in the lower 90s. Trying to billow up a couple of showers in an isolated storm over Jamaica at the hour. Montego Bay, not a horrible temperature in at 88 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, it's right around 30 degrees Celsius here. A lot of daytime highs in Jamaica for today have been 31, 32, even 33 degrees Celsius. Again, some clouds, but we've had limited rain for the most part. There's still been some showers along the northern coastline during the morning and a few thunderstorms redeveloping late in the afternoon, mainly across western parishes. Really hasn't happened as of yet, but it's still an opportunity for that to happen a little bit later in the day. We still have the large wave and strong wind advisory. Winds have continued to be very gusty in these areas as well, mainly looking at winds that are going to be out of your northeast. You can see the wind direction, or due east, and that's going to be 25 to 30 mile an hour gusts from time to time. Kimmy G sent me a picture from yesterday morning. Ocho Rios area, again, northern coastline there. You can see the showers working their way in, fast moving ones, but those dark clouds, and that opportunity will be there again for the coastal area, northern areas in the next couple of mornings, and then a few thunderstorms are redeveloping in the afternoon hours. Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town, Morant Bay areas south and east, including Hayes and Mandeville and Maypen, a little bit dry. I'm not going to rule out an isolated shower, but I don't expect much for the next couple of days. Back out to the broad perspective, let's swing back into my friends of the ABC Islands, where it's been a beautiful afternoon across this area. Let me bring back on our current temperatures, show you what those look like live. It's not an outrageously hot day, right right around 90 degrees for a daytime high in most spots, but it's been a beautiful afternoon. Live look outside. You guys know we have these live cameras now at Meteo Mundo. Love to show you these to help tell the weather story. One of the exclusive things you'll find here at Meteo Mundo. Around Aruba we go. Again, live look for this Friday afternoon. Decent breeze. It's not as fresh as what it's been. The sun glistening off of the beach and the coastal waters there. What a fantastic shot. Looking really good for my friends in the ABC Islands who want some rain. I've got better opportunities coming up in the forecast ahead. We are starting to see a little bit of moisture return to portions of the Windward Islands, but it's so concentrated. Grenada, Trinidad, Tobago. Those have been the areas that have had the best opportunity for some showers. Tobago has had some rain for today. We've had a couple of passing showers across Trinidad. Not a lot of lightning associated with this. And some of this moisture is trying to sneak up to the north. But again, you get towards the Grenadines and St. Vincent and Barbados, and it's been a mainly dry forecast. There's been a few passing showers here, but you know, the deeper tropical moisture is off to the south. You can see that huge plume here on this visible satellite imagery. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring on what we call the sandwich product here. It throws on the infrared and the visible satellite imagery together. You can see all of that sitting just off the east coastline of TNT, and it's much more isolated the farther north that you go. We've had some cloud coverage today across St. Lucia. We've had a couple of light passing showers. Got the live camera for you there in St. Lucia. Again, it hasn't been much. Many dry hours across St. Lucia, but this is an area that has had a little bit of extra cloud coverage late on this Friday and the opportunity for a couple of passing showers here and there. Friends, again, in this area, you know, try and get some of this rain because we'll be drying out a bit as more Saharan air moves in. Now, that's going to be on the heels of this moisture, and then right behind that Saharan air, another tropical wave is going to be moving in. So it's kind of a brief respite or getting some drier air in place, and then right back into a little bit wetter forecast. Hot today in Dominica, up to 90 degrees, Guadalupe in at 88. A couple of fast-moving showers in the Leeward Islands for today, but again, fairly dry. Not a horrible temperature for today. It hasn't been that bad. Up in this area, we've also had a little bit of gustier winds from time to time. You know, nothing outrageous here through the Lesser Antilles. More wind across portions of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but again, a couple of light passing showers in Antigua Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's on over towards St. Martin and the Anguilla areas. For the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, again, winds have freshened up. St. Croix up to 30-mile-an-hour winds. St. Thomas in around 22. Again, fairly solid breeze for today. We've seen a couple of isolated storms develop on the southwest side of Puerto Rico. Can't rule out a couple of passing showers. St. Croix, winds whipping across this area again, 25, 30-mile-an-hour breeze. Thunderstorms will be best served from Uti Alto towards Ponce, on over towards the southwest sides of the islands, and then working their way west. A little bit of thunderstorm activity with that. Now, yesterday, this is a look from Isabel Cerny in Christiansted. She said she went across the key a 1-minute ferry trip to get this shot here. Beautiful picture from St. Croix. And again, you can see some of the lower bases to the clouds, a little bit of tropical moisture in play, but not a lot. We're going to see a couple of fast-moving showers here the next couple of days before the drier air comes back in for a brief time. Try to get a few thunderstorms to develop across portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti. We've seen a couple of extra clouds over the Santo Domingo area, throwing the temperatures again for you right now. And you notice that we did have a little bit cooler air earlier in the day in the Santo Domingo area for a brief time, and now we're right back up above 90 degrees, which is around 32 degrees Celsius. Seeing a few showers developing along the coastline, but the best thunderstorm activity for today has been over Haiti, just east of Port-au-Prince. Watch the thunderstorms develop there, temperatures coming down, good cluster of lightning. Baharona could see a couple of isolated showers, and some of this could try and move across the peninsula towards the Lacai area as well. Thunderstorms haven't been as prolific today in the eastern sides of Cuba, but you get towards Havana and the Matanzas area, boy, they're going gangbusters. I mean, look at all of the lightning. You flip the switch late on this Friday, and these thunderstorms are just blowing up across the hour. I'm sure there's some really gusty winds associated with that as well. The wind gusts right now, let's see here. I'm going to bring these on. Nothing heavy, at least reported out of what we call the METAR sites, but just south of Havana, there's got to be some gusty winds associated with some of that activity. Hey, we've seen some good thunderstorms over Bermuda for today as well. Passing showers, thunderstorms. There is a thunderstorm advisory, I believe is what it's called, in effect for the rest of the day in Bermuda. And they will see another round of showers and storms and waves of rain coming back in for Saturday as well. But an area that has been desperate to see some rain has had a little bit of that for today. Back over to the Turks and Caicos and my friends in the Bahamas. Nice little wind in San Salvador today, easy for me to say, up to around 30 miles an hour. Otherwise, again, you can clearly see it's the easterlies in play. You can see that visible cloud coverage there being pulled from east to west. It's been lovely today in Grand Turk. We've been mainly dry through most of the Bahamas for today. Few thunderstorms out west towards the Andros area, trying to develop over the New Providence area. Let me bring on our current radar here, live out of the Miami area. We'll bring off the satellite data, just so you can see, again, most of that activity today has been just a little bit west of the Bahamas, more over Cuba, trying to get back over the Straits of Florida and towards the Florida Keys. I can't rule out an isolated shower thunderstorm in Walker's Key and Grand Bahama and the Abacos, but again, not a lot for today. And that's why we have such a gorgeous live shot for you from the Long Island area, White House looking off to the west. That aqua sky, or the aqua sea of the blue sky, that is a tropical picture, my friends. Let's get into the forecast. As we do so, thanks for taking a quick second and hitting that like button for me. It helps support the channel more than you think. Thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. Come join our Meteo Mundo weather community. Fantastic community. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate all those who have found ways to support the channel. Our super thanks for the description below of the channel. And you can also become a member. 2 tiers, supporter tiers, just 99 cents a month. Real simple way to support the channel. Custom badges and emojis during our live streams. Team MM, you get everything you get as a supporter, but you also get access to exclusive member shorts. I grab my phone, I record some videos in between some of these forecast videos that you see, kind of giving you my thoughts, maybe some behind the scenes looks. That's just $2.99 a month, and I appreciate those who are Team MM members. Saharan dust will be moving back into the Eastern Caribbean early next week. Decent concentration, and the Saharan air layer will be a factor in the forecast tropically as well. We'll talk more about that coming up. So again, on the heels of this next plume that'll be moving into the central and western Caribbean over the weekend, and you can see that happening right now, although it's dispersing as it does so. As we get into early next week, here comes the next plume, and again, Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, places like that, the areas most impacted by that next one. All right, back out to the broad perspective. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the forecast over the next 3 days, go island by island, and then deep dive into the tropical outlook for next week. So let's fire up the models here and get started on that. First of all, again, we'll begin with the areas that have been the wettest for today. But as that tropical wave moves off to the west, it is going to pull the moisture with it, and we will begin to dry out a bit for the Yucatan, for Belize, Guatemala, Honduras. Still a little bit wetter. Nicaragua closer to the monsoon trough, so Costa Rica and Panama. Still not going to be completely dry, but just not the heavier thunderstorms that we had for today. Now look, when the thunderstorms get going with this kind of heat that we've seen, they do produce a lot of lightning and heavy rain. It's just not going to be as widespread. We're more going to be in the 30 to potentially 40% range for places like Roatan, Utila, Guanaja, Belize City, and even a little bit more isolated up towards Cancun and Cozumel and the Merida areas. It's not going to be a ton of rain over the weekend for the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Isolated, fast-passing showers is absolutely possible. Still going to see the strong wind and large wave advisory more than likely continue for Jamaica, as the fresh winds will continue, again, including Pedro and Morant Bank in the open waters of the southern areas here. So again, boaters, fishermen, mariners, be cautious of that. When I'm looping up this model over the next 3 days, you don't see a ton. Again, a few showers, north central, northeast coastline, maybe a couple of thunderstorms out west in the afternoon hours. The global models have a little bit harder time picking up the localized impacts that we could see, but the bottom line is there's going to be a lot of dry areas, and a lot of you, my friends in Jamaica, have let me know in the comment section below how hot it has been lately. Unfortunately, I don't see a big break in the action, because this time of the year, how do we break the heat? We get widespread thunderstorms. That's not in the forecast over the weekend and early in the week. An area that will see better rain chances overall, it's going to be Cuba. still localized in fashion, but you saw how widespread they developed today. It could even be a little bit more widespread in the central and the eastern sides of the area as we get into Sunday and Monday. Scattered rain will continue over the Bahamas. Nothing outrageous. The best chance actually is going to be southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, 40% chance. So places, even as far north as Exuma and Long Island, but the Acklins, Mayaguana, Inagua on over towards Caicos and Grand Turk, those are your best chances for scattered passing showers. A little bit fresher winds as well. Could cook up sea conditions, especially in the exposed waters of the Atlantic east of the islands. So keep that in mind. As I mentioned, Bermuda's not done with the rain. They will continue to have at least the opportunity for a couple of scattered showers tomorrow. You can see that right here on the map on the 19th, right? And then a big trough develops in the eastern, off of the east coast of Florida and the western Atlantic. And, where have we seen that before? Maybe 2 times in the last 2 weeks. Could there be more potential tropical interest out here? We're going to highlight that as well. Put a pin in that for at least at this point in time. And that's not even talking about the Atlantic Basin east of the Lesser Antilles, and we'll get into that as well. Scattered showers over the weekend for the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Still some locally heavier rain is possible. Decent chances, 50 to 60% chance. Expecting those kind of values over Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands for the weekend ahead as well. We'll dry out a bit Sunday and then try and see some of this moisture coming back in on Monday. We'll see how the Saharan air layer plays out. This is the first time that there is really going to be this fight between a vigorous tropical wave and the Saharan air layer and what ultimately wins out. What I am expecting from Puerto Rico east for the Lesser Antilles is a little bit drier Saturday overall, drier Sunday in general, and then trying to get the moisture to return back again on Monday. We'll see how that plays out because you saw that there was a push of Saharan air coming in. But overall, I do expect rain chances to begin to improve again starting on Monday. So for Anguilla and St. Bart's and Barbuda and Antigua, again, fairly nice weekend. Could be on the hazier side from time to time. Our air quality levels could be coming back down to the moderate category in some of these areas. Keep an eye out for that. Fresh easterlies could kick up the seas from time to time. Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, the Grenadines, St. Vincent, Barbados. A little bit higher rain chances still overall. Grenada, TNT. Not as high as they've been, but again, look farther south in latitude towards Trinidad, and you're just going to see a little bit more moisture here be able to swing its way right back over. So places like Port of Spain will have a better chance. Isolated for Nueva Esparta, trying to get a couple of scattered showers over the ABC Islands. You can see that in the model, especially on Sunday. Probably going to be the highest chance. Not crazy high, but a little bit higher than what we've had. So here you go. This is your island by island rainfall forecast over the next 3 days. Northwest Bahamas will see building rain chances back up to a 50% chance on Monday, but still very isolated over the weekend. Slightly higher central and southeast Bahamas, and even higher than that, Turks and Caicos. So farther south that you go, better rain chances. We all end up with a 50 on Monday. Good rain chances in Cuba. Isolated showers for this point in time for the Cayman Islands. Again, brief, heavier downpours possible. Staying dry over the weekend, also possible as well. Belize City's rain chances again go down. 40% chance tomorrow, but just 30 on Sunday and Monday, and drier for places like Cancun and Cozumel. Jamaica's rain chances aren't crazy. I've got it at a 30% chance. I told you the areas that I'm favoring. Northern parishes morning, western parishes in the afternoon. Doesn't mean we're not going to get some showers and storms central and southeast sides, but it should be fairly limited. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico's rain chances are highest tomorrow and then fade a bit again as that Saharan air layer moves in. U.S. and British Virgin Islands about the same scenario as well. So just ultimately drying out a bit as we head towards Monday. Now again, right behind this should get wetter. For Bermuda, better rain chances tomorrow than we dry out. Anguilla's rain chances, again, you go a little bit farther east and you get into the drier air a little bit earlier. So Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, slightly drier on Sunday for the most part, and then rain chances should improve again beginning on Monday. Now, you'll see the same situation here. Again, just area dependent, 20, 30, maybe a 40% chance for the Lesser Antilles over the weekend. Barbuda relatively dry tomorrow, then really building rain chances by Monday. And that's the ultimate story, right? Fast moving, passing showers, hazy sunshine over the weekend. Next tropical wave comes in on Monday. Here comes your much elevated rain chances across the entire area. Even Barbados builds in those rain chances to 40% on Monday. Grenada's rain chances, again, you get down to the Grenada and TNT, they'll stay slightly higher than everyone else. Generally speaking, over the weekend, pick it back up for an even higher chance on Monday. Suriname, Guayama's rain chances build up again after maybe a little bit drier air on Sunday. And Nueva Esparta, we'll see a few more showers on Monday. And again, a slightly better chance for a couple of showers and storms Monday and Tuesday in the ABC Islands. Again, boaters looking to the central, western sides of the Caribbean, south of Jamaica, not fantastic news. Wave heights, 8, 10, maybe 12 feet, 2.5. 3.5 meters at a couple of spots, not great there. Fresh easterlies moving back into the Lesser Antilles with a nice tropical wave. And you can see even some building wave heights here, Turks Caicos, southeast Bahamas. That's what I was picking up on here. Those winds will be getting a little bit stronger. European rainfall totals. Again, southern bottom side of your map, closer to the equator, if you will, lower in latitude, monsoon troughs, heavier rain, more persistent. But it gets interesting once again with another trough stalling out over the Gulf and the Western Atlantic just off the United States coastline. And by the way, and I'll show you this in a second, this could be the old loop-de-loop from Invest 93L, which spins right back off of the coastline and helps to promote some spin out there. So things could get interesting there, but things could also get interesting here in the Atlantic Basin as well. All right, for the first time, we're actually seeing some decent tropical waves coming off of the West African coast. All right, when I show you guys the water vapor imagery, reds are dry air, greens are moisture laden air, obviously very depicted by where we have this, but this is a good tropical wave, especially this far east, July. August, September, October are the typical times that we watch these waves coming off the West African coast to truly develop and be able to traverse the entire Atlantic Basin and get closer to our area. I do want you to note the massive amount of dry air that is north of this, and this will play a factor. Saharan air is still being ejected off of the West African coast along with these waves. And it's a big battleground, trying to wrap up a system when you're fighting all this dry air that gets ingested to the north. So, we'll get more into this in just a second, but I wanted to show you the overall thing. Now, the other interesting thing, again, that could happen is 93L died out and never developed, but this is the leftover circulation here across eastern sides of Texas, which ultimately could spin up and do the old loop-de-loop and come back in to the western sides of the Atlantic or even the Eastern Gulf into early next week. So when I show you guys the overall perspective here, I'm going to bring this out a full week and loop this up. And we will start off here, and this would include places like Florida and the Bahamas, regardless, again, and I've said this now for the third time in 3 weeks, regardless of tropical development, it's going to get wet again. It is outrageously hot this weekend in Florida and the Bahamas. Heat advisories for Florida, which is very rare, but feels like temperatures up to 110 to 112 in central Florida, including like the Orlando area, going to the Disney attractions. Not going to be fun this weekend. We'll start to see that moisture, again, watch it spin back in, and then watch this trough develop here. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week could get interesting. The GFS has a little bit of a spin here, and then a little bit of a spin in the Northwest Gulf. Watch this. You'll see the first spin here, second spin there, right? Still too far out in time to be talking about any kinds of specifics, but I wanted to give you guys an idea about that. Now, this is the GFS model. Again, it's a little bit more interesting out here, right? You saw, first of all, right, good tropical wave coming in here as we get into Monday. Here's Tuesday, right? What could that do? Could that develop into anything? Right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case, but we're going to start to amp up the tropical moisture in play. Now, the GFS here, right, and especially once that moves north in latitude and it gets into that drier air, really sucks it in and trains that dry air, becomes a problem keeping anything trying to wrap up. But let me show you guys the European model. Now, it's a GFS, certainly more robust moisture coming back in. But the European model, even from yesterday, is really showing a signal for the potential for some tropical development in the Atlantic Basin mid next week. We're now up to about a 70 to an 80% chance of a tropical depression. This is the European model pressure at the surface with the relative humidity. And the reason why I'm going to show you this is, you see the green, that's the moisture-laden air. You see your surface low right there. Lesser Antilles, so we're still, about 1,500 miles away, maybe 1,200 miles by the end of this loop. So we're still far out in time, and this is, by the way, mid next week. Okay, well, actually it's Monday of next week, but then traversing off towards the west. But what is all north of it? All of this brown air is that Saharan air layer, dry air. It's gonna be tough for anything this far south in latitude to develop, stay organized, and be able to lift far enough north and fight all of this drier air to have any impacts, including even into the Windward Islands. It's the highest chance I've seen so far, but there are a lot of negative factors trying to subvert this and keep this thing from actually wrapping up. But that's what I'm monitoring. Situation I'll watch out for the rest of the week. Again, regardless, I think we get back into a little bit wetter pattern for the Eastern Caribbean mid next week. Friends, I appreciate you guys. You can follow us across all social media. Do so on Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Please remember that Media Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for hitting that like button and subscribing on the way out. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm back soon with the latest forecast right here at Media Mundo.